Mexico right now is doing mass deportations on all the people that stayed illegally.
Right.
Because that's how you manage a country. And it's not about hating people. Myself as an immigrant, it's just about doing things the right way.
Yeah.
You know,
I understand that, but we don't like people being roughed up. America doesn't do that. America's about due process. And if you're going to come to this country, of course you need to do it legally. You need to follow the things.
He's saying, of course.
But in America, if you're going to go and pick someone up, you have to have due process. You've got to have a warrant.
Right.
You got to show them that there is a reason to do it.
Yeah, guys, most of the people that are basically being picked up, are they like legitimately to be considered the worst of the worst? There's a small subsection of them, absolutely. These are generally the ones that get kind of shown on Fox. We understand. But the problem is that you're saying that they must have a warrant. Bro, they have deportation orders. What are you calling that? I mean, obviously it's not a warrant for their arrest, but it's definitely, in fact, a warrant for their deportation. That means that their asylum claim has completely fallen through. That means that what they said was the reason why they needed to claim asylum was a literal nonsense, guys. Tom Homan said 80 to 90% of people that literally has claimed asylum in the Biden and Kamala Harris era are going to be deported. Yes. It is what it is. If you lied on your asylum process. Now, I can imagine that the outrage that this woman is feeling doing things the legal way, okay? And then understanding there are a bunch of people that have broken into the country, okay? And then they have gotten like precedence over her specifically and her process of immigration, right? Yeah, guys, they don't like it. There's going to be some who are just like, yeah, sure, whatever. That's fine, right? More of my neighbors from back home, right? From the country that we're all running from, right? But geez, guys. All right.
There is, you know what I'm saying? And so maybe in Mexico that's different, but we don't beat our people up here. We're not supposed to.
Mexico is North America, so North America is a continent. So you have to do things the right way. And anywhere.
But Mexico doesn't go by the same rules that we do. We're the biggest democracy in the country, in the world. And we believe that we treat people humanely here.
No, I get that. And the thing is,
democracy.
When you come from a country that is not the U.S., you really see the blessing coming to a country that has freedom. A country that
I completely agree with you, but you also see the way that you should not treat people. No. And I don't think people are protesting out here because they're upset that that they believe that people should just come over illegally. I think they're upset because of the way that they are doing it and that they are not going through the people. If you want to come to Chicago and you want to bring in the National Guard, you have to talk to the local officials and get their approval. That's how it works here. And you cannot just pick someone up and say, I'm going to grab you, whether they are undocumented or not, or documented or not.
There's a way that you want to be treated correctly.
Right. So I think that's why people are protesting.
Yeah, and I agree with
that. It's not. It's anarchy, guys.
That applies
anywhere. Those are the people out here protesting are just anarchists.
That applies everywhere. You want to be treated the way that you want to treat others.
Right. But if you come, you want to do it the proper way.
He's not listening to nothing that she's saying.
And that's anywhere. So I think that also people need to understand that, because a lot of them have signs that said, no human is illegal. But once you enter the wrong way, doing it the proper way, you're breaking the law. And I think that we need to see both sides of it.
It's not a criminal act. The president is a criminal, and he's in the highest office in the land. Coming over and being undocumented is not a criminal act. It does not deserve someone to be pushed to the ground and handcuffed.
Okay, I get it. It's a misdemeanor. He's going to play this argument between the differences between most likely a misdemeanor and a felony. I hear you. Basically, nothing more than an infraction, right, for the most part here. But it's crazy because it shouldn't be. And the reason why it shouldn't be is because it's basically trespassing. Now, you are trespassing on our land. Now, are all trespassing charges considered misdemeanors? I guess to a certain extent. Guys, I don't know. I don't like the way this feels. Like how he's positioning it is moderately troubling. But either way.
That's not. And so if you live, let me just tell you, I just got to be honest with you. If you come from a place like Mexico or whatever, you're from Mexico?
Yes.
If you come from a place like Mexico, you're right. We have amazing opportunities in this country. And the reason we have those is because we have a constitution where we treat people humanely and we believe in immigration and people coming over. Not everybody comes over and they're going to do it the same way. Sometimes people come over under desperate situations and they need to get out. And we have to understand that. But the reason that we have all these things and that you love America is because people have due process, is because we don't treat people inhumanely. It's because we don't beat people up. It's because we don't throw people in detention centers in horrible conditions. That's why you love America. If we did that, then we would be the same as the places people are coming from, looking for more freedoms and more opportunities.
See a dark side of it though, because now you see cities like California, Chicago.
I mean, Los Angeles. The states like
Yes, exactly. States like California, with cities like Los Angeles and other parts of California, Chicago, and then you see Portland, and then you see all these other places where people are just breaking the law constantly, and they're just getting a slap on the wrist and send their way. And
where's it? Portland. There's no emergency. There's no crime in all of these cities that you're talking about. Crime.
Okay, I don't think he I mean, listen, Don Lemon is like the news guy. You get what I'm saying here? Are you specifically leaving out what looks to be like, insurrection? Are you purposely leaving, the guillotines that were created? Like, are you purposely doing that? I mean, listen, I understand fully. Is that the entirety of the city that this is happening in? No, guys, it's happening in some small corner, and obviously everyone is filming the same corner. I get that, right? But the fact that you're saying that none of these things are happening is absolutely asinine. It is.
Is down.
Okay, when you see
Always have issues with crime in big cities.
when you see those videos on TV and people just in stores and stealing merchandise and just running out with.
That shouldn't happen, but what does that have to do with immigration?
What I'm saying is that it has to do a lot with immigration, because you are saying that crossing illegally is not a crime. They're not breaking the law. That's my thing. If you
It's not a crime.
go to Japan and try to do it illegally, and I guarantee you're
You
going
don't live in Japan. That's the thing.
But when
You want to live under Japanese rule? That you're making my point. You don't want to live under a dictatorship.
I'm trying to tell you is that America is heading that way, because we're only giving us slaps on the wrist instead of enforcing the law. So when
There are things that we need to work with, but we cannot brutalize people and not give them due process. Do we need to work on people who don't serve enough time in jail and other things? Absolutely. But that is not the same
But you're not out here talking
as
about
immigration. And that, look, I think people should come here the right way.
Okay,
But also,
they don't. Now what's
I'm not in a dire situation where I'm going to judge how someone comes in the country when they are in fear of their lives or they have no opportunities. I'm not going to judge how they.
president is a criminal, so that's judging.
Yep.
No, I'm not
sure
judging.
did.
That's fact. How's that judging?
Okay, crossing the border illegally is not a crime.
No, it's not a criminal act. It's a misdemeanor.
So why are they?
I knew
being
it. I knew we were heading here.
They're breaking the law.
That's the point.
Okay, as somebody that
We don't know if they're breaking the law because they won't tell. There's no due process. Where's the evidence? That's the whole point. And if they are breaking the law, most people will say, okay, then they need to go if they're criminals. But if they're not, why are they being rounded up and sent out? Especially when he promised to deport the criminals. And now he's not doing that.
I don't think we're going.
Yeah.
So misdemeanor is not
It's not a criminal act. No, if you get charged with a misdemeanor, that's not a criminal act.
at all. Then, if it's not a criminal act.
Yeah, okay. This is like a civics issue here. You kind of want it's like basically like a write-up in school for the most part here. I think that's the reality of the scenario here. But what Don Lemon specifically seems to just keep wanting to miss, at least, is like the full understanding of people that have come over, broken into our country. Okay, they now have gone through the asylum process, and then we're starting to realize that they lied about it. They're just here for economic migrancy, which is not covered under any circumstances. Okay, for asylum. When he says they're fearing for their lives, you're only banking it off of the small minutia of it. Because again, we have 10. What is it? Let's say 10 to 20% max that are here actually for them running for their lives. Just because everyone is saying it, it doesn't mean that it's true. Hence the reason why there's so many deportation orders being handed out. He seems to want to disregard that completely. What happens when you do not show up for a warrant? It gets escalated, guys, right? Whatever you were charged with before, It's escalated now. So listen, I understand the initial infraction is nothing more than a misdemeanor, unfortunately, right? But once they disregard that deportation order, why are you surprised that everyone is calling them criminals now? Because I think by default, if you have if you're doing felonious things while by disregarding deportation orders or warrants, what does it make you by default, guys? Again, the initial act initially does not make them a criminal legally, right? It's when they disregard the deportation order, which then now makes them illegal. You understand what I'm saying here, guys? I mean, there are a couple of steps before you can call someone an illegal immigrant, guys, right? But I do understand the right when they speak about these things. On average, everyone is a legal immigrant, no matter what, even though they haven't gone through the process, right? Don Lemon is being intellectually dishonest because if you don't think he is fully aware of this, you're crazy, guys.
Because we have different levels of crime. Everything is not the same.
It's crime.
No,
Just
we have
different
different levels of. No, I shouldn't say crime, but it's not. You're not. It's not a crime. You're not breaking the law. I mean, you are breaking the law, but it's not a criminal act.
So it's breaking the law.
No, you're not breaking the law.
Misdemeanors not breaking the law.
No,
Speeding, drinking, get pulled over, DUI.
that's not a
Drinking
criminal
is
act.
not.
No, if you're speeding is a misdemeanor.
It's a misdemeanor.
Drinking is
Still
felony.
Okay, well, if you want to qualify that, we're doing semantics. But what I'm saying, but what I'm trying
He's
to
living
tell you is
within
everything
semantics.
is not the same. It's all not one thing.
But is it the law?
What is it? The law that what?
Is it a law to come
Is
over
there a
legally?
law?
Is there a law?
There are rules that are processes that you should follow. Yes, so you're breaking rules.
What about the
You're breaking
semantics
rules, but
comment
not
that he
necessarily
made?
breaking a law.
So what happens if you break the rules?
This guy's annoying.
Then you suffer the consequences. But the consequences should not. Look, no one is saying no one should suffer the consequences. You guys are getting things mixed up. Okay. What we're saying
Are
is
they?
that you should not be brutalized or beaten up or treated inhumanely for even if a criminal act in America.
Just for any law.
For any law, whether it is the highest in the land, you still have due process. You're
Take this man's microphone away right now, guys.
still innocent
I'm
until
sick of this man.
proven guilty.
Innocent until proven guilty.
Right.
Yeah.
No, we agree
But
with all
that's
that.
it. So what happens-
But what's happening now is guilty until no proven. It doesn't matter. You're just guilty.
It's on both sides. But like, if you're going after someone that's breaking the law, right? So speeding or whatever, and they're lawfully pulling over and obeying your command, right? Then there's no issue. Are they going after people that are like calm and gentle?
Yes.
They are?
Yeah. There's not even.
They're not
it's
resisting
No.
at all?
These people are. You just grab people and say, "Get on the ground and get in the car," and then someone will say, "Well, for
They
what?
don't have warrants at all?
For no,
What he was saying, yeah.
They don't have
no,
warrants at all?
no warrants."
No, when it comes
Are you watching? Are you paying attention?
No, I don't.
We're watching
I mean, I
both
don't
sides.
believe the news.
No,
I can't watch the news because you don't know who's.
I'm with you on that, but
Yeah, I'm just-
you're not seeing. No, you got to know. I love that you're talking to me and challenging me, but you have to know.
Challenge you. I'm just trying to understand because you're saying misdemeanor and different levels of law. Just break it down to the most simplistic, right?
There are different levels of breaking the rules and what crime means, right?
Exactly. But there's when you break the
when it
rules
comes
and break the
down,
laws,
it's
there's always a
like crime
penalty.
is crime. There can be different levels. And when I use Japan as an example, it's not because I'm just saying, coming from a country myself that is corrupted, that you see crime here is nothing compared to what you see over there. People hanging from bridges by the necks, some even with no head. Crime is the worst that you can see. Go to Mexico, and I don't mean Cancun. Go to Mexico, Central Mexico, the real Mexico. There's crime at the worst. So what I'm saying is it starts little, and then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger till it gets to the point where you can no longer live in a country like that.
Yeah.
And this is where the U.S. is heading. And I was telling my husband,
That's never going to happen in America. Man, let me tell you, America's been around for hundreds of years. That's not going to happen
Mexico's been around for longer.
in America.
I mean, anything is possible.
It's not anything is
Anything.
possible. The only
Well,
thing that can
not
make it
Mexico
go
in its
to
own state.
the level that you're saying is if America becomes a dictatorship, an authoritarian nation, and that's what we're quickly becoming.
Dictators. Mexico has never been.
Mexico is not a democracy in the sense that America is.
Okay,
And
but the
Mexico,
thing-
you're comparing two places that are not the same. And you're making my point by saying all of these bad things. Imagine if we allowed those things that happen in Mexico, imagine what it would be like in America. You wouldn't want to come here. The reason you want to come here is because we protect our citizens. Yes.
Yes.
And it's better than any country because of our Constitution,
Notice what he said here, guys. Yeah, we protect our citizens.
because of the rules and the laws that we have in place, because it is
Like guys, I definitely do not agree with the concept of us consistently being the world's police since the late 80s, 70s. You get what I'm saying here, guys? I don't agree with that. I don't think that we should. It's just making us weaker. It's making us kind of enter into like a globalist type of scenario that's allowing other people's countries, specifically failed ideologies, to kind of creep into ours. And it's also now affecting like too many of our people, to the point where there is a lot less unity now because everyone wants to be something else that they never were in history, right? It's affecting us. We're now splitting up, splitting into two. If you actually follow exactly what has happened to all of the great empires, everything was fine when there was unity, when we were all moving towards a singular focus. But the fact that we decided to, within the last 50 years or so, start kind of getting into this like super toxic ideology that has split us all up and literally split us down literally a line, right? It's either you agree with this standpoint here 100% wholeheartedly, you're immovable on it, or you agree with this one, right? These two groups will never see eye to eye anymore, bro. It won't. There's nothing good coming from this scenario, guys. There's nothing good. This is empire death. That's what this is, right? The great American experiment is now suffering because neither of us can sit down at a table, have an intelligent conversation, and actually learn things. If you're coming from the right, there's nothing that someone on the left can say that will mean a single thing to you. And the same thing vice versa. This is the end of our experiment. We now know what happens when we create something like this. It'll never happen again after this. It'll just be different. Like the chance of autocracy is going up higher and higher and higher and higher and higher as the days progress, because the two sides of the coin specifically have no ability to sit down, have an intelligent conversation without getting completely irate and ridiculous here, guys. Like, it's hard to watch this because neither of them are going to ever understand each other. Like, listen, I fully understand. I like numbers, data, statistics. Okay. Unfortunately, guys, I'm trying to put this into words that make sense here. But unfortunately, I'm not sure we're ever going to see any type of like actual, I don't know, bro, coming together anymore. I'm just telling you. There's like, it would be great, right? But we need to go ahead and get the zealots out. What I mean by the zealots is like the people who are just completely staunch in their belief, and completely immovable out of their echo chambers.
It is a work in progress. It is seeking a more perfect union. It's not that we're perfect. And in order to seek a more perfect union, you have rules that you live by.
He said it himself, because of the rules and the laws that we have in place. Exactly. Those rules and those laws are being broken left and right, and people are not being accountable. And it gets to the point where little by little starts growing and growing till it gets to a place where you can no longer live and be safe.
Yeah, I think that
And it's heading that
it
way.
only gets to a place like that if you have a country that doesn't have a constitution, and that where you have to treat people a certain way, and you have to, innocent to proven guilty, due process. What do you have? Right. What do you have to prove to me that I am deserving of being sent to a detention center and shipped out of the country? You don't have to do that in Mexico. You don't have to do that in Japan. That is a problem, and you should be concerned about it, especially if you live here in America. That should be concerning to you.
Coming from Mexico, what you said, no, they are doing exactly that. All the people that were not able to cross the border to come here, and I do see it as hypocrisy, because you see Hispanics in here on the streets protesting when the exact same thing is happening in our own country in Mexico. People from Venezuela, people from Haiti, Cuba, all over the country in Mexico, they are doing mass deportations and they're using force. Nothing like you see here in the US. They're not pulling you over and checking out, let me see if you're legal to be here. No, they start beating you up and then they question you later.
We're there. That's
No,
happening.
we're
Not even
not.
close.
No, we're not. We're
Ma'am,
talking
you
about
have not. Are you kidding me? Are you not watching what's happening?
I've been
Are you not seeing the statistics of the
different
people
worlds.
who have no criminal backgrounds, who are being locked up and deported?
The way
criminal
that you
backgrounds.
see criminal backgrounds are totally different.
Right. You want to ignore things.
Illegally, that's a crime. You don't see it that way, but I do.
It's not a criminal offense.
What
Okay.
happens though if you break the rule across the border?
Then someone says stops you or whatever, or you get a citation or a notice, you have to go to court. But if you want to deport people, I think that you should. I think you should be able to deport people, but you have to show them. Listen, before you go to court, you have to show. I just can't stop you and say, I suspect that you are here illegally. That's what they're doing. And before they find out if it's real or not, they are putting people in handcuffs and taking them to detention centers. That should not happen. That is what's happening right now. And so it is the same as what's happening in Mexico. And if you don't see that happening, you're not paying attention. So the problem is, I believe it's not the deporting of people. Obama deported more people than any other president. It's in the way that you do it. You have to follow the rules, the law, and the Constitution.
No, it was the same exact way. Hold on. Guys, it was the same exact way, but obviously less theater, if that makes any sense, right? It was a lot less. It was a lot less in your face, kind of on the news, but it's the same. All right. The only difference is you didn't care because it was coming from Obama. Say that. All right. Then just say that. Whatever Obama did was perfect and sane and everything was fine. Right. But Trump did it. You don't like Trump, so nothing that he does you're going to side with because again, your side has now kind of gone into its corner now. It's gone into its own side of the ring, and it has no actual interest in progressing from it. Say that, Don Lemon. I'd rather you say that. Be intellectually honest, at this specific time, rather than continue to basically, gaslight the whole scenario. Nothing about this situation is okay and will be rectified. Now, listen. I've noticed both parties definitely tend to kind of live off of exceptions. All right. So the right will say they'll find this one cause, this one case of something crazy happening, and then immediately paint the entirety of, ICE and all of these, these actions as something that is happening on a national level. In fact, it's not. Right now, the right will then say, I've said this numerous times if you've watched my videos here, guys, right? The right will say, look at all of the worst of the worst, and they'll name all the crazy charges that they've done, all these wild and wicked things. They'll find like 12 people, right? And say, look at this. This represents, but then they'll utilize that to represent for people that are not kind of like in the know, at least. They'll represent the entirety of the illegal immigrant population of people, right? Is that a real thing? No. The overwhelming mass, let's say, of illegal immigrants. Let's just it's just easier to say that right now. But like illegal immigrants are never going to commit a secondary or tertiary offense. They don't want to get caught. They don't want to get thrown out. All right, that's the reality. Now, there's a small subsection who were monsters in their country. Okay, then they came here to be monsters in this country. Right, there's a small subsection, probably less than like 10% of people. All right. That's why you're not seeing office buildings full of people that have been arrested, guys, for these craziness. It's because that's not the reality. But the right will push that all of the illegal immigrants are going to commit all these wild, heinous things. The left will then say all of ICE is terrible because of these one small exceptions to the literal rule. The literal rule is everything is fine. Everything is fine. You're just overblowing the scenario, and your base is full of the most emotional people. No logic is in these are in the bunch. I would say that watch CNN or anything Don Lemon oriented. I can't find the logic in it. It's just emotional crybabies. I don't know, men that accidentally hit their kneecaps and start crying on the ground. Those type of guys, right? But it's full of those. It's full of that, guys, right? So what are you truthfully expecting to come from this scenario here, bro? I don't think that this conversation is even conducive. I do think that it probably should have come from the other direction, but it would have not made much sense because the other side, Don Lemon's side specifically, would have, been incoherent and crying for no reason, bro. right? So that would have been it. That's kind of the vibe I get from this here. This whole argument. Don Lemon got cooked completely by a legal immigrant, as expected, truthfully, that has gone through the process and is absolutely fed up with illegality. That's it, guys. Respect. But all right, listen, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly. And again, if you guys are new here, please like and subscribe. In the meantime, I'll catch you guys later.